1997 was an interesting year in England. The Labour Party under Tony Blair achieved a landslide victory in the general election. Hong Kong was transferred back to China after the 99-year lease on the territory formally ended, and much beloved Diana, Princess of Wales, was killed in a horrific car crash in Paris. The trouble is, in 97 I was 12, so these events weren't exactly at the top of my list of things to pay attention to. What was at the top of my list was my newly acquired Sony PlayStation. I'd moved on from what were primarily 2D side-scrollers on the Mega Drive to more advanced games. Doom, Mortal Kombat Trilogy, Wipeout 2097, Tomb Raider, Crash Bandicoot. These were the events in 97 I found myself caring about. Near the end of the year, a small game called Grand Theft Auto entered my sphere of attention thanks to the official PlayStation UK magazine I picked up every month. With its top-down viewpoint and seemingly impossible to accurately describe gameplay or plot, I was initially turned off, but the magazine kept insisting this game was worth my time. I picked up a copy. 20 years later, Grand Theft Auto is one of the biggest names in gaming, with insane levels of profit being generated for Rockstar Games, the publisher of the series, and global recognition as well as reception from gamers has never been higher. I've owned every main entry in the series, and I feel it's about time I made this video, so here's my top 5 favourite Grand Theft Auto games. Number 5. GTA Vice City. In 2001, GTA 3 was released. This was the franchise's first foray into a proper 3D world and started what's now known as the 3D universe. The closest I'd been to this previously was being able to get out of the car in Driver 2, and that just left me wanting more. The game took the world by storm and helped cement the PS2 as a console for the ages. It was the greatest game I'd ever played at the time, and was everything me and everyone I knew had been hoping it would be. So imagine my surprise that only 1 year later they released a follow-up based in the previously seen in GTA 1, Vice City. Setting the game in 1986 was a stroke of artistic genius. All the music on the various radio stations in the game were era-appropriate, and some of the biggest artists of all time made the list. Ozzy Osbourne, Twisted Sister, Megadeth, Judas Priest, Spandau Ballet, and Michael Jackson, to name just a few. This resulted in what many still consider to be the greatest soundtrack to any video game ever, and I'm inclined to agree. Vice City was essentially GTA 3 on steroids. They added motorcycles, which were absent from GTA 3 and a fuck ton of fun to use, as well as helicopters, allowing players to properly fly for the first time in the series. The Dodo in GTA 3 doesn't count because while you can technically fly it, it's more of an exploit and the devs clearly didn't intend on it being a legitimate flying vehicle. They also added motion blur and new lighting effects to make the game feel very... Vice. You could even change your outfit for the first time in the series. The characters were far more interesting and fleshed out this time around, and even featured celebrity voices from people like Ray Liotta, Dennis Hopper, Burt Reynolds, Danny Trejo, Gary Busey, and Debbie Harry, to once again name a few. While Vice City wasn't the huge leap forward for the franchise that GTA 3 was, it improved on pretty much every aspect of the game, and that can't be overlooked when making a list like this one. Also, it's a heavy inspiration for my GTA Online Vice series, which I highly recommend you go watch after this video because it's awesome, thanks. I'm back, baby! Number 4. GTA 4. GTA 4 was... different, and not in a good way at first glance. The series left the 3D universe behind and strode bravely into the HD universe. Gone were the rocket-powered roller skates that were cars in the 3D universe, replaced by heavy, slow-to-accelerate cars. At first I didn't like this new game at all. The bright visuals and cartoony nature of the previous games were replaced by a drab, relatively colourless return to Liberty City, the setting for GTA 3. It took a while to get used to the weight of both the vehicles in the game and Little Jacob's ridiculously thick Jamaican accent.
Alright, hear me now. What bad man is saying is, the boy them are some novice, see? You go find it when you go up on the corner of Alpha and South Bohan. See? When you go down the side, you're going to see and just deal with them, see? And you'll find out how them work, alright?
Alright.
But once I'd spent some time with it, the game really started to show its charm. The story in GTA 4 remains my favourite in a GTA game to date, probably because Nico Bellic is arguably the only protagonist in the series that could honestly be described as a good person, constantly finding himself in bad situations with bad people, being forced to do bad things, but a good person all the same. The completely redesigned Liberty City itself was huge, to the point where it sometimes felt as big as the state of San Andreas in the game of the same name. It wasn't just an empty shell either, there was a lot you could do. You could go bowling, visit a strip club, play darts, visit a fast food joint for a health boost, play pool, get drunk, and even watch Ricky Gervais doing stand-up. No, I'm not joking.
Sufferers of obesity. I said, you mean fat people? She went, no, because obese... Well, she actually went, no, because she was eating. So she went, obesity is disease.
Oh, no, it's not, is it? No, it's not. You just like eating, don't you?
How is that a disease? Oh, I'm so fucking ill. Oh, I am well ill.
The best part of all this? You could do any of these with an in-game friend or girlfriend. A few of the friendly characters in the game would phone you from time to time, asking if you wanted to do something with them. Obliging would raise your respect with that character, and each character would provide a bonus to the player upon reaching 75% respect. These bonuses ranged from free cab rides in the city to having a car full of guns for sale at 60% off come to your location. Very handy. All of these new mechanics help make GTA 4 stand apart from the previous games and take a huge step up in graphical quality. The game also featured a reasonably robust online system where players could engage in deathmatches, races, co-op missions, car stealing missions, or just dick around the city blowing the crap out of each other at the airport with rocket launchers. Fuck the Auf Wiedersehen Petrovic trophy. GTA 4 was also the first game in the series to feature DLC, and it was some of the finest ever made. The 2 packs were essentially tiny story modes in their own rights, telling 2 extra sides of the Diamond fiasco that adds much more context and weight to a few missions in the game. On top of adding something like 20 new missions each, the DLC packs also added more guns, more cars, more music, more activities in Liberty City, just more of everything really. Overall, GTA 4 is just another example of why Rockstar Games are as big as they are now in the year 2017. Number 3. GTA San Andreas. This game is to Vice City what Vice City was to GTA 3, more of the same but bigger and better, and boy did they go bigger. Released only 2 years after Vice City, meaning Rockstar released 3 of the greatest games of all time in as many years, San Andreas was no longer a city in GTA lore. Rather, it was now a state containing 3 entire cities, each being about the size of Liberty City from GTA 3, plus a whole bunch of countryside in between them. This game absolutely blew my mind. They introduced real flyable planes this time, as well as a whole host of special cars waiting to be found or unlocked. They added garages where you could pimp your ride, a very welcome feature at the time. They added girlfriends you could date and sleep with for various benefits, much like the friends in GTA 4. Your character even had stats this time. Yes, you could literally go to the gym and increase your stamina and muscle. Or, you could just binge on fast food and get really fat if you wanted. Pro tip, fat muscly CJ can throw a hell of a punch. You could even learn new fighting techniques from trainers and gyms. Much like Vice City, GTA San Andreas featured a robust cast of legendary actors providing voices for characters. You've got Ice-T, James Woods, Axl Rose, Peter Fonda, and the main antagonist was voiced by Samuel L. Jackson. Like, that's how much better does it get than that? The game took place in 1992 and heavily featured a fictionalized version of the gang warfare the Crips and Bloods in Los Angeles perpetrated around that time. You could gain respect from your homies in the hood, allowing you to take them with you into battle and take over territory from rival gangs. The more territory you own, the more money you make. Add to all this a much more fleshed out clothing system than Vice City, new activities like triathlons, this game being the first in the series to allow swimming rather than water being certain death, the multiple cities and surrounding countryside sections providing a welcome change of scenery, weapon and driving skills that increase as you do them, kinda like Skyrim in that regard, and bicycles that once your skill is high enough, you can literally jump over an oncoming truck. And you've got one hell of a game that blows its predecessors, and in my opinion its successor, out of the water. Number 2. Red Dead Redemption. I don't care what anyone says, Red Dead Redemption is Grand Theft Auto in the Wild West. And it's my list, so it's going on there. I gave this game's single player a perfect 10 out of 10, a score I don't dish out lightly. And to think I actually ignored it at first because I don't give half a crap about westerns or their style. My friend practically forced me to borrow it because he knew how much I loved GTA. A week later, I bought myself a copy. As I mentioned earlier, it's GTA in the Wild West, and by this I mean you're given an open world you can explore on foot or by horseback, and you take missions from people by going to their initial on the map. GTA's trademark humour is nowhere to be seen though. The tone is generally stark and does a really good job of reminding you why they called it the Wild West. There's a bunch of hunting and sharpshooting challenges you can choose to complete as you progress through the game, and these usually unlock a new outfit, some of which come with special abilities like being able to cheat at poker. Speaking of which, the poker in this game is the best version of poker I've seen in a video game, and I've played games that are just straight up poker. It's so good, they could have just released it as its own game. You can also play Liar's Dice, which the game does a really bad job of explaining, but once you wrap your mind around it, it's actually pretty good. This game builds upon the random stranger mechanic introduced in GTA 4, where you'll come across people in need of help or perhaps stumble across some bandits that don't take kindly to your snooping. Luckily, John Marston is one of the best shots in the West, thanks in part to the upgradable Deadeye ability, which allows him to slow down time and mark enemies before unleashing all the queued up shots in an epic hail of bullets. Somewhat surprisingly, firing your guns from the back of your horse is incredibly easy to do thanks to the controls that feel much tighter and more responsive than GTA 4's. Red Dead Redemption also featured an online component that was much deeper than the one found in GTA 4. You still had the usual deathmatches and races and whatnot, but now in free roam you could posse up with other players and tackle gang hideouts or just cause mayhem in the session. The online portion of Red Dead Redemption was clearly laying the foundations for something much more ambitious further down the road. And my number one favorite Grand Theft Auto game of all time is GTA 5. 5 years after the release of GTA 4, we finally saw a sequel, and in true Rockstar fashion they gave us more of the same but bigger and better. They toned down the super heavy and sluggish cars in GTA 4 and instead opted for a sort of hybrid of San Andreas' and GTA 4's car mechanics, resulting in cars that are fast enough to be fun, yet realistic enough to not seem cartoonish. The gunplay took cues from Red Dead Redemption and Max Payne 3, both published by Rockstar, and was, I feel, an overall improvement over GTA 4's combat. The story mode was more ambitious than ever before as well. Instead of a single character, you took control of 3 protagonists that you could change between nearly at any time during gameplay. This would often lead to comedy as you assumed control of another character and you saw what they were doing while you weren't there, like Trevor waking up after clearly blacking out on a bender of some sort, or Franklin hitting the bong at home. Personally, I didn't think all that much of the story in GTA 5. It wasn't bad, but whether intentional or not, Rockstar decided to make pretty much every character in the game, outside of Franklin, Wade and his cousin Floyd, and Solomon Richards, a completely unlikable asshole. But that's just me. If this list were being created solely for the single-player portions of the game, San Andreas would be above GTA 5. But there's this little thing called GTA Online. Earning money and buying stuff is pretty much the goal in GTA Online. Luckily, there's an impressively large number of ways to earn it. You can do contact missions for characters in the story. By the way, GTA Online is set 2 weeks before the story of GTA 5, just in case you didn't know. You can do the now standard deathmatches and races, as well as a whole host of other game modes far too extensive to go into here. Now, I'm not saying I've been enjoying the game much since it launched in 2013, but I have put 75 days of my life into playing it. If we're including the online portions of the games, and why not, they're part of the game, then Grand Theft Auto 5 is easily my favourite GTA game of all time. Red Dead Redemption 2 is scheduled for release in spring of 2018, and it seems to be a lot of people's most anticipated game right now, myself included. If anything's going to knock GTA 5 off that top spot, it's Red Dead Redemption 2. So that's my top 5 favourite Grand Theft Auto games. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments down below, and please do like and share this video if you enjoyed it and want to see more like it, because if you like it and share it and it gets views, then I'll probably do more like it. It just makes sense, doesn't it? Peace!